I guess for the cloud computing services, it's all about scale. At present in Australia, there isn't many enterprise cloud computes with significant scale as there is being built in places like Singapore. With data sovereignty being an issue in Australia, do you expect there to be much of a demand? And also, what kind of impression of scale can you give Australian enterprises? Just how much server and storage capacity are you building out in these centres?
The beauty of it is you can add scale very quickly these days, whether it's storage or server capacity, because it lends itself to that kind of architecture. The advantage we have over most companies is we can bring both the IT infrastructure and networks together as a seamless infrastructure service to a particular customer. So a customer does not have to invest in data centers and boxes and servers and storage and worry about power and failures, etc., etc. All that platform and network bit is taken away, so they don't have to worry. They can focus on their value add in terms of applications, which largely most customers are concerned about. So we can take that away from them. We can give them the facility to basically pay as you go, so it makes it a bit easier for them to manage their capacity. So they don't have to invest all the time in servers. If you have your own, you have to buy server capacity to the peak that you're going to run it. Even that peak might be once a month, once a year, whatever it is, you have to have the capacity. Whereas in a cloud computing environment, they don't have to do that. They can pay as you go and say, once every 6 months we'll have a peak, and therefore we buy additional storage, and the following month it kind of drops down to where they normally are running at. So that's one advantage. The other big advantage is all our data is onshore. And as you probably know, companies worry about their data offshore. It's not only offshore, they don't, some cases don't know where it is in the world. And so when things go wrong or you have to recover, what capabilities do other companies have in terms of, one, data recovery, data access, data ownership issues. So if the data is located offshore, it's possible that the data comes under, in terms of legally, under the laws of that specific country. And so there are issues that companies worry about and therefore like to keep their data onshore. And we obviously have that.
What kind of network infrastructure will an enterprise have to consider to tap into the cloud computes that you're building?
A number of options, and again, depending on the application and the security levels that companies want. Obviously, large enterprises will want their own things like their own virtual private networks hooking into our networks. Other smaller companies may want to access through internet-based access mechanisms. So it really depends on what we are hosting on their behalf, the applications, the security levels they want, etc., etc.
You said in your presentation today that even something as complex as an SAP application could be offered using this cloud compute once it's built. Is there any limits to what application that you're going to be able to offer as a service?
No, generally, it's basically the applications that are certified to run on x86 platforms can run on our environment. From what I understand, SAP is certified to run on x86, so certainly we can host those kind of applications. But what we're not going to do is manage the configuration of those applications, so we're not in the business of doing that. But we have an arrangement now with Accenture, for example, that will assist customers to migrate their services onto the platform and manage it where possible, or depending on what the customer wants, applications like SAP and so on to install and configure and manage that, which companies like Accenture currently do.
Okay, so when will the Clayton data centre be completed, and also when will Silver Lining cloud compute services be available to customers outside of the first few that are trialling it?
So I'll answer the second question first. A lot of the cloud computing services are already available today. So we're building out and building a more strategic platform for our customers. As you know, probably Visi today is already a number of other customers on that platform. And so it's really, in terms of capacity, when you say about Clayton, buildings take a long time to build, but we are modularizing it. You can build the shell and then fit it out in increments. And as I mentioned, currently the design looks at about 2 buildings. So we'll do the first one, and depending on how things are going, where the technology is going, how the consolidation is going, how the demand is for our cloud services is coming from customers, we can incrementally. So we are planning broadly, but executing as and when we need to do it.
Ashley, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.